Swiggity sorty, let's get that booty.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Slim Cogcast, and it is I, Slim Cognito, here to let you know and catch you up on what I've been doing this past week. And the first and foremost is I have completely finished both seasons of Mob Psycho 100. And I gotta say, when it comes to anime that subvert expectations and tells a shonen from a different angle in different ways, it is amazing. It's something that oftentimes doesn't get explored in shonen anime, and it's perfect that I watched it right next to My Hero Academia, because I found out that the strongest thing about My Hero Academia, especially with the latest episode, is that anime is good at being inspirational. Like, it literally makes you feel like you can conquer anything when you get done seeing the things that's going on with Endeavor, with All Might, with Midoriya, with the whole crew. So to juxtapose that with Mob Psycho, it's like Shigeo is just a normal, quiet, introverted kid that's growing day by day. So we get to watch that, but they don't really just talk so much about the strength that's within him, because that's already a given. We know about that. And the strength that he's trying to really, I guess you could say, really expand upon and become familiar with is his strength as a human. He's not so infatuated with his supernatural strength as an Esper, because of the lessons that Reigen-sama has been teaching him, and it's actually pretty good. It's about how even if you did have superpowers and everyone else around you are normal people, that doesn't make you special, because humans take time to do so much as a collective to make things happen. Therefore, that would be more valuable out of the work and the sweat of their brow, rather than the fact that you can lift a truck with your mind. That's far more valuable, and your power should be of service to those people, because something that's greater than you would be the teamwork and collective work of humanity. That's an amazing story to tell, and I can't get enough of that. It's an amazing anime. I can't think of another word to describe it as, but yeah, it's so good. You should go and check it out. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. I've been missing out all this time on Mob Psycho, and I want to see more from them, and I can't wait. The writer is very good at understanding people, almost as if he comes from a psychological background, he or she, and I would love to see more. Another thing, the latest My Hero Academia, since I spoke about it earlier in passing, I have to say that what made it so inspiring, I love the fact that they took this moment when they were speaking to Endeavor to talk about how different all three of them are. Meaning the three, I mean Midoriya, Todoroki, and Kacchan. They are so different in terms of how they interpret their own powers and how they interpret their own growth. Where literally Todoroki is all about trying to find out who he is and not defining himself by his childhood traumas. So he's on a journey of, self-healing, whereas Midoriya is trying to redefine himself to become his dream. He is a person who literally is working from the bottom and trying to get to the top, and he's doing everything he can within his power by being as studious as he can to learn as much as he can, just as much as him learning all of his techniques from his mentors or even his friends, when he learned how to do the shoot style kicks from Lita. So it makes a lot of sense, and I really like that he had a whole spiel of a lot of things to just text and on deep, in-depth observations of his powers and how they work. And that was great character building for me. It literally fleshes out the character even more, and I love that. To be able to put us in the mindset of the character and know how they think and how they operate helps us understand this character in every instance that they operate within in the show. And I like that. So, and then you have Kacchan, the last one, who basically is literally just driven to become stronger. He wants to be number one. And he found out that the definition of that is not solely about how much power you have. and that's what drove him to become a better hero in the previous exercises and tournaments and etc. Taught him how to actually care for people and become a better person, to the point where you see all three of them are working toward the same goal but at completely different starting points. And that's amazing. I love to see that. That is what you call top-notch A1, 100% amazing writing right there. And I'm here for it. It actually turns me on. So, next thing, I'm going to just give you the lowdown on what I've been playing. And on the stream, we finished Final Fantasy IX this week. Over on Twitch, you can check out the VODs. They are still there while they are. I'm going to work out some type of way to... I've got scripts written up of ideas that I wanted to do for the channel and whatnot, but then at the same time I wanted to make a way to archive the VODs, so we'll be working toward that as well. But only certain games and certain playthroughs, I guess we'll see about. Maybe we'll get the VODs and send them on over, light edit it, and send them on over to YouTube or something like that. But they are available, they are there while they are, and I've defeated the bosses. This is what happened. Okay, so I came across the final bosses. I went in at like level 40-ish for my party. My party was about, an average of level 39. So we went in, we did our best, and we got wrecked because I killed the Death Guy's dragon. Of course, I've beaten all the other bosses preceding to it. But Death Guy's dragon, I wrecked it. Barely made it out of the fight, but I did make it out of the fight. Then came to Kuja. Kuja took a little bit of some time, but I actually managed to beat him. I think it took about 2, maybe 3 tries, and then I beat him. And then finally, I got to the third and final boss of the entire game, which was Necron. And Necron was shooting, he had this one ability. Okay, he had one move called Blue Shockwave, which is guaranteed to put any one target down to 1 HP. Then he had the Blue Cross, which was ridiculous. And no, it was Grand Cross, I think it was called Grand Cross, which is basically, it shows an animation of a bunch of planets being lined up into a cross around, well, Earth is in the center, and it just inflicts every status effect in the book at random on your party. And I got wrecked by him my first try, and then got wrecked by him on like my 3rd or 4th. So at that point, I was streaming for about a good 6 or 7 hours, and I was tired. I said, I'm gonna have to tackle this tomorrow. I came back the next day after doing a little bit of light research without any spoilers, and I decided that if I could not do it on another try, on my first time back, I'll just go and grind. And I did just that. And during the grind, I wanted to go ahead and switch out my dagger white mage for Eiko as the white mage, because Eiko had Kiraga, whereas Dagger did not. Now, the thing about Dagger is she's okay with the heals, she's fine with the heals, but she also has summon. So she has pretty much, she can deal damage as well as, sustain the party. But because I have all these other characters that can deal amazing damage, not talking about Freya kind of trash, and I'm gonna go on a little rant about Freya in a second, but all these other people that can deal this amazing damage in one turn a piece, I don't really need her summoning Eidolons in any form or fashion. All she needs to do is spam heal at that point. So here's the thing. My problem with Freya is that as a Dragon Knight, I was loving, the people who are Dragon Knights, like Edward from Final Fantasy VI was amazing. I guess after 6, all of the rest of them were like just the abilities that you can equip to make them into that. Like you can change their basic attack to a jump attack or add it as an extra command. Like 7, I think it's Materia that gives you that ability, and 8 is I think it's a GM that you can equip some type of ability that'll give you the ability to do so. But whenever there was a Dragon Knight character, usually they would be badass, and I have not seen one be great since Final Fantasy VI, and I don't understand why it's so trash, but it is. So yeah, Freya's damage is not the best, and her best abilities are dice rolls. Okay, her second best ability was, I forget the name of it, but it's supposed to like bring a bunch of dragons out, and it has a dice roll whether it will restore HP and MP fully of your party members, or put them to 1 MP or 1 HP. So you'll never know which one you're gonna get. That's trash. I would never use anything like that, and you never ever in an RPG, at least my rule of thumb is never choose random chance over consistent stats and results. Ever. Why take unnecessary risk when you know that you can just consistently do something that's more, or even if it's a little bit less than what that dice roll could potentially give you? As long as it's consistent, you know what you are capable of, and you don't have to really worry about the outcome because you're guaranteed to get this. That's why Kate Sith is not a popular character in 7. That's the reason why people don't like using dice rolls in Pokemon. Just no, we want consistent results. So anyway, back to the game though. Necron, I defeated him after we grind, and I took the party up to about level 50 for each person. Okay, this had everybody at a minimum of 3000 HP, and we were ready to go. And I also made sure to equip every ability that was associated with anti-CC or anti-status effects. This is what made the big difference, because one time after I came back to fight him again, I failed, but it was only because of RNG. The Grand Cross had him inflict zombie on 3 of my party members. There's no way to fight against zombie aside from using an item called Magic Tag, and I don't have any abilities that will negate that status effect from even being applied. So yeah, we kind of bought the farm on that one, and we ate shit. But we came back the second time, and it was a good fight, and we wiped them, and I enjoyed it. It was a good boss fight. I was livid when I started playing Final Fantasy IX. I was mad because the pacing is slow, which rightfully so it is. It's a snail's pace of a game. So you have to be willing to accept that. But it's one of those games that's literally designed from the bottom to the top, all the way through in every aspect to pay off in the end. And I didn't get it until I beat the game, and the whole point of it was, even down to the difficulty of the final bosses, the whole point of the game and the message behind it was the will to live in humanity, and how hard you're willing to try to stay alive or keep going or to accomplish things, or etc. It's really about your journey that you look back on, and you find out. When I look back on everything I did in that game from the start to the finish, I was like, damn, that was actually a good journey. It was a good adventure, actually. It was wholesome. It was, understandable and very humane. It didn't, like any other game that I would play, I would look back and say, oh, those were cool moments. I remember the explosions and the great times and etc. But when you look back at the beginning of the game, it was a completely different vibe all around. All the characters eventually grew or changed, the important ones anyway, not talking about Freya. Steiner, I hated Steiner at the start of the game. Hated him. He was annoying. He was too much of a prude. He was always by the books. Nobody likes that at all. And then, suddenly he had this cool moment between him and Beatrix after Alexandria was attacked, and that was so dope. And it was the first time that he looked like a true hero, and I understood why he does what he does. Then after he fell in love with Beatrix and everything moved forward, and you see the way he behaves toward the end, you come to find out that he's not just someone who's annoying and prudish about rules and upholding his knighthood, but really that's what he defines himself. That's what gives him purpose in life, is to be the greatest knight of Alexandria and the title that he was given. And being one of the knights of Pluto, he takes a lot of pride in that. And it makes sense. That's why he has so much dread when things started to go south and it looked like he was doing a bad job. So he started overcompensating. Oh my God, it's so good. And the things that Zidane was going through as a character, or Dagger even, was interesting. So I'd say that I really did enjoy that game. It's the most down to earth Final Fantasy I've probably played. Maybe the closest when it comes to being like relatable, like everyday human life, the closest I'd say would be Final Fantasy X. There were no relatable characters in 8 nor 7, hardly any relatable in 6. But 10, I feel like 9 was that turning point that made that opened the doors for them to write amazing characters like they did in 10. Oh my god, 10 is so good. It's so good. It makes no sense how good it is. So yeah, that's my whole take on Final Fantasy IX. It's great, and I feel like if I were to compare it to the other game that it was developed alongside with at the same time, which was Final Fantasy VIII, I would have to honestly say that I prefer 9 over 8. Because it is a direct contrast to what 8 is. And 8 is all about complexity and detail and postmodern understanding, and everything about it is just complex. If you look at 8, it's got the junction system. It's got the active battle buttons that you can, do extra damage with. It's got the different customization options and growth of character options, or different areas on the map with different spawn points of enemies, that are consistently like each enemy has a habitat. It's got all these complexities with the gardens and the schools and these. It's every the whole plot. Everything about it was about complexity, from finding out their origins in the orphanage and all the way up to them being assassins for hire, and all the way up to them going into space. It was all about complexity. Whereas Final Fantasy IX was simplicity. It was reflected from the gameplay to the story. It was all about simplicity, meaning not to get hung up on the details and miss the forest for the trees. Look at the bigger picture and not let certain parts of in the corners captivate all your time and your energy. It's one of those games you have to look at on a macro level, and I love that. It didn't hammer it over my head, but it literally did drive that idea home, and I love that for it. So yeah, Final Fantasy IX, that's my complete understanding of it and how I view it, or at least my perspective on it. And I'm sure there are others out there, but this is the best that I could conjure, because this is how I choose to see it. Even though I haven't played every Final Fantasy, that's the tone this game gives off to me, and I like that. Next, we've been playing we're playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma 3 on the stream now, just to finish out the trilogy. But the next game that we will be streaming, I have decided it's going to be none of the ones that I've mentioned before, because those are coming later, but not too later. Soonish, but later. We'll be streaming I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It has been decided. That game is a very good philosophical and just psychological marvel when it comes to writing. And I feel like it's one of those things that should be essentially studied on how to make descriptive writing for the purpose of causing the viewer and the reader to be uncomfortable in a beneficial way. It sends over certain emotions that you don't expect to get from media without using the cheap tricks. Like for example, you watch your usual popcorn movie, and in order for them to show you a bad guy, they show him killing someone innocent or harming children or harming animals. And these tropes are used to establish, okay, this is the evil dude that needs to be defeated in this show or this movie. But he takes those to different levels and makes sure to use the area of the gray area to blend the definition of good and bad in so many believable real world ways. So I can't wait, and I hope y'all enjoy it as much as I hope to. And with all of that out of the way and being said, lightning round on the news. Let's get started. So first thing on the docket over on PCGamer.com, there are 1 or 2 staff at Respawn working on Titanfall security problems. So of course, I'm sure we talked about this last week or the week prior, I can't really recall, but there's been hackers that have been targeting Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2 for that matter where they DDoS servers and ruin games for people, and they've also been doing so on Apex Legends. And it turns out that a hacker hacked Apex Legends in order to force Respawn into fixing Titanfall. Now, they've reported on this according to this article by Jody McGregor, and it says that they have been working on the security in order to beat these hackers and get it in order, but the thing is they can't reveal too much information because they would give a leg up on the hackers that would really fight against their countermeasures. So it's a game of whack-a-mole, and the only way to win is to not show your hand while you're playing. And they're doing their best to fix it. However, Titanfall is not the biggest priority. Apex is. So most likely they'll be fixing Apex and Titanfall 2 before they actually get around to repairing Titanfall 1. But they said they only have 1 or 2 people on the job. So let's hope for the best. I really would like to play my games because I'm sick of having disconnects. It's getting real ridiculous. And these people who are DDoSing, man, I don't want to wish nothing bad on y'all, but I hope the worst so you can learn from this and stop doing it. But let's move on. Anyway, yeah, basically he's just saying, and I quote, our community is at our wits' end and feel abandoned, which they kind of do because they've been asking for it to be fixed and it hasn't been. But Jason Garza, the community coordinator, says that you are not abandoned. It's a game of whack-a-mole with this. As I said, we went on to explain that while he didn't have to repeat that the team was working on the issue, because you can only hear that so many times before it becomes useless. Because now it's a different type of game with these people who DDoS and stuff like that, and blacklist and things like that, so we can't telegraph our moves. We can't say what we're doing. All I can say is we're working on it. And that's pretty much the thing. Because while they are doing their best, the problem here is the people who are doing it, not only do they make money by selling the software in order to do these illegal hacks, but they also do it for their own enjoyment. They climb up to the top ranks and they DDoS servers. If you're in the top ranks on Apex, usually, I'm sure you've seen the streams if you're not in the top ranks, but in the streams you've been seeing that people get DDoS as soon as they lose, or they'll DDoS the server when the game starts and then just walk around the map killing people. So this is just what's been going on, and it's tragic. It actually sickens me to my stomach. Next on the docket, gamesindustry.biz, Ubisoft at high risk of losing talent after abuse allegation. Company updates assessment for areas of risk in its latest universal resignation document. So basically everything was in the title. Basically Ubisoft is having problem keeping good talent because of the rumors and allegations that's been going around about it being a toxic work environment. And whether that's true or not, I mean, this is the cause and effect. If you're gonna have these things buzzing around, it's gonna be hard to keep people employed. If people hear about certain things happening, you won't really see people go out of their way to work there unless they actually need that job. And when it comes to jobs like game development, you gotta be careful because the indie scene is strong, competitive, yes, but strong, and a very valuable revenue to run down. Anywho's, Eurogamer.net next on the docket. Capcom's anti-tamper measures might be causing Resident Evil Village's poor PC performance. Of course, Digital Foundry reported on Resident Evil Village PC version, and they looked at the port and it was not good. Actually, it was pretty bad because there was flickering and all types of visual stutters and issues once you are in certain parts of the game. And it turns out that these issues are caused by Capcom's anti-tamper version 3 and the Nouveau version 11, which a hacker found out, a cracker and hacker. Turned out he removed this DRM from the game, of course, and it resulted in a smoother gameplay. They gained extra frame rate and clearer visuals. This should tell you something. You cannot bar these games from people for anti-piracy measures to that degree of aggression. You have to take it easy. You have to let these things play out. Elsewise, you'll end up with these problems. And more people would rather have to, well, I wouldn't say they would rather have it on console, because I would rather play it on PC, honestly. But you're forcing people to have to buy it on console, and that's just trash. And this worry about piracy is a big problem, because Steam sales have not dropped off. Steam numbers have not been bad, and most people do not pirate. They really blow it out of proportion. I haven't met a single person that openly said, or even admitted, or that I've seen that openly pirate these games. So I don't think it's as bad as they make it seem, and it feels like a waste of money that they're investing in. So yeah, but plain and simple, the whole PC port just plays better without such, and it's a shame. I'm gonna let you all make your own opinion on that, but for me, I think that they should leave that shit alone. Next, on NintendoLife.com, Nintendo employee tells fans to stick with current Switch if they're not digging the OLED screen. The OLED screen version of the Nintendo Switch just dropped. Main changes were the new dock with the built-in LAN port and a new design, whereas also an OLED screen was implemented into the Nintendo Switch, which is supposed to give more vibrant color and a slightly bigger resolution for the game to run on. It does look great, a little bit better, and they also upgraded the default internal storage. However, it is not a huge graphical update. This is not a Switch 2, this is not the Super Switch, and this is not the Switch 2.0. Don't even buy into it, alright? Just if you want a better screen, or you don't have a Switch and you would like to get one, then this would be the better purchase. But if you already own a Nintendo Switch, then it is not advisable to go and get the OLED screen, because it won't change your game experience that much. It's the same Joy-Con, so you're still susceptible to Joy-Con analog stick drift, and you might want to get something third party to attach to your Switch in order to replace those. Now, other than that, last thing on the docket, over on Polygon.com, Mass Effect Legendary Edition and puts the butt shots. A mod puts the butt shots back into the game. Now, I'm sure you all remember me complaining about the character in particular from Mass Effect 2 and 3 named Miranda, who was supposed to be the perfect human being made to procreate with, which I never really signed on with that notion, you know, not to make it about race, but I just found that very suspect that they would even make that the entire intention of a character. But it makes sense within the world's, you know, in the world's lore and mythos, so I don't really like get too honorary about it. It don't really bother me that much. But to get back to on topic though, there was a lot of shots in the original games of Mass Effect 2 and 3 where Miranda's ass would be the focal point of the entire shot, and it would go from left to right and the camera would follow. And it was annoying to me because I did not like Miranda. Okay, her jaw looks like something that came directly off of Optimus Prime from one of the Michael Bay Transformer movies. Her jawline is so goddamn strong, I expect her to bench press 5,000 pounds. Her nose, okay, it's not about that. Okay, she's just not attracted to me. That's the point. And all in all, they tried to force it on you, which made me want it less. Okay, they kept pushing on, hey, you want to fuck her now? How about now? Do you like it? Go ahead and hit that. How about now? Did not like it, was not a fan. And originally when the game came out on PC, the trilogy, there was this modder, this very same modder, removed the shots of Miranda's butt from the game as much as he or she could. Now that the game has been released in the Legendary Edition, the trilogy, he actually put the butt shots back in. And I'm like, I don't hate you for this, because I understand, and everybody gotta have their horny, you feel me? But it's the irony that makes it so poetic to me. And I find it kind of funny, you know. I'm not mad about it. It's just, damn. He became the very thing that he sought to destroy, I guess. Anyway, that's everything that we have on the docket, and from anything that's worth a damn and all that. There was a state of play, but as far as I've seen, there's not much new that's been announced aside from what's already been announced. So yeah, there's that for Sony and PlayStation, and let's hope for the best of what's to come. So yeah, And also keep up with the stream. We've been doing great. I want to thank everybody who comes out to the stream every day to check out the gameplay. Everybody who was there to help with Final Fantasy IX. It was a great time. I really appreciate it. Those who helped me out for sure. And those who were just there watching. I thank you as well, just as much. And we're going forward. Hopefully we can hit this 100 follower milestone. I really do hope so. That's my next goal. So without further ado, always remember the channel motto: intentions are the most important, actions ain't nothing but loud, and words don't mean a damn thing. Y'all take care of yourselves. Don't forget to go and follow me over at Slim Cognito Mode on Twitter, at me some stupid stuff. Go ahead and check that out. And the Twitch under the same name as the YouTube channel, which is Slim Cognito Entertainment. Y'all be safe out there. It's hot this summer. Peace.
I'm just being honest with you.
I know.
I don't listen to him. I don't listen to Lil Uchi Coochie. I don't listen to Lil Love Boat.
But he missed more than he
light
did.
skinned dude that think he a chick.
Who, Drake?
What is it, Bobby Light or some shit like that?
Bobby, who? Oh.
Make music for niggas that close the refrigerator with their hip. That's it.
Shut the fuck up. Hey yo, I do close the fridge with my hip, man. I hate you so fucking much. Oh my god. That's so good. Why is there such a specific yet accurate description?
What happened? He said I feel kind of targeted.
Yeah, bro, I feel seen and shit. And Drake make music for niggas that perm their ass hairs.
Hair conditioner on their pubic hair.
Yeah.
I thought Drake make music for people that manscape with safety scissors. My fault.
You need to go to jail. They need to lock your ass up. He make music for niggas that know how to spell charcuterie board. Hey,
I'm fucking crying. Oh shit.
that's so fucking stupid. Ugh. I wouldn't know how to spell charcuterie board if you asked me, bro, for $1 million. Oh my god.